Good morning, English 208 students. It's so wonderful to be here with you today. We are beginning Unit 1, Section 1. Bell work will start on Monday, so please be on time. We will discuss misplaced and dangling modifiers today. Make sure that readiness checkpoint has been completed from yesterday, and then there will be a few reminders. What is a modifier? We will learn today. We will identify misplaced and dangling modifiers, and we will revise sentences to fix those dangling and misplaced modifiers. Our motto this year is no one can do your push-ups for you. This is Private First Class Morris. She just completed boot camp and her AIT training. In fact, I am down watching her graduate in Texas today. As she says, no one can do your push-ups for you. No one can run 16 miles with a pack on your back for you. You've got to do it. And just like no one can do your push-ups for you, no one can do your work for you or attend your class for you. All you've got to do is show up and pay attention and stay current, and you will receive the grade you want in English 208. A modifier is a word or phrase that qualifies or modifies a word, phrase, or clause. What does that tell us? Well, absolutely nothing at all. Let's break it down a bit. To modify is to change. We have modifiers in the forms of adjectives, which modifies a pronoun or noun, adverbs, which modify verbs, or phrases. They can modify an action or an actor. Remember, a phrase does not have a sentence. It's not a full sentence, excuse me. And a clause is a group of words with a subject or a verb. Please pause this if you're unfamiliar with phrases or clauses and go over this once again. Remember, a clause has a subject or a verb, but a phrase does not. This is my niece Seneca. She went to Turkey a few years ago and brought home a gold medal in archery. I have no idea how to aim. In fact, my younger children are outside right now practicing hitting a target with their bow and arrows. So I am hoping they are safe, and I think this is an amazing skill that she has, the ability to focus and hit that target. Think of modifiers as the arrows that are shot from the bow. You need to hit the target as close to the center as possible. For clear logical sentences, writers aim modifiers so they strike as close to the intended target as possible. Why is it important to me? Why is it important to your life to learn about modifiers? Well, the point is clarity. For instance, moving the small word just can change a sentence dramatically. Just Evan was rushed to the hospital from the accident scene to treat his wounds. Evan was the only one injured. If you say Evan was just rushed to the hospital from the accident scene to treat his wounds on his neck, the ambulance just got there. If you move the word just again, Evan was rushed to the hospital from the accident scene to treat just his wounds. Evan has wounds and contusions all over, but only the ones on his neck are very serious. Are we making any sense at all? If not, do not despair. We will go through enough examples until you are comfortable with modifiers. Let's look at misplaced modifiers. Remember, a modifier is a word or phrase that describes or changes the meaning of another. Misplaced modifier means there is a separation or space between the word, phrase, or clause and the modifier. Modifiers are misplaced when they're far from the words they modified. They hit all around the target, but none quite make it. Here is an example of a misplaced modifier. The postal worker sorted the letters standing at the counter. In this sentence, it sounds like the letters were standing at the counter, on end, ready to be sorted. If the modifier is placed in the correct place, the postal worker, standing at the counter, sorted the letters. That makes sense, and it's something that can actually happen. Place the modifier near the word or phrase it modifies. In the immortal words of my niece, hit the bullseye, baby. Sailing toward the horizon, the shore shrank into the distance. This sentence means that the shore was sailing towards the horizon. That can't happen. Obviously, there's a misplaced modifier. Let's do another example. On her way to work, Elaine saw the silver woman's earring laying on the park bench. This sentence implies that there is a silver woman. That can't be right, but if we place the modifiers close to the thing it modifies, it makes sense. On her way to work, Elaine saw the woman's silver earring laying on the park bench. Now the earring is silver instead of the woman. Andre delighted the spectators bowling for a perfect game. Were the spectators bowling for a perfect game? I don't think so. It was Andre. Bowling for a perfect game, Andre delighted the spectators. Although it was made of barbed wire, the jackrabbit hopped the fence. Was the jackrabbit made of barbed wire? I don't think so. The jackrabbit hopped the fence, although it was made of barbed wire. The fence was made of barbed wire. The fans stood in line to buy tickets for the show for 20 minutes. The fans stood in line for 20 minutes. The show was not 20 minutes. Please use this time to go through these examples and make sure that you understand that it is most effective that modifiers are placed by the word or phrase they modify. Here's another kind of problem, a dangling modifier. We just discussed misplaced. Now we're going to discuss dangling modifiers. What is a dangling modifier? A dangling modifier misses the target completely. It's not even near what it modifies. It's a word or phrase that cannot logically describe any other group in the sentence. When I lived in Jerusalem, I was practicing with a slingshot, and we were supposed to get 5 smooth rocks, and we had an old-fashioned slingshot, and you were supposed to twist that slingshot around your head several times and let go of one of the strings, and the rock would fly forward. Well, I stood up at the line and our teacher yelled go, and I was swinging that rock as hard as I could. I let go of one of the strings and it flew behind me, hitting other students behind me. I was dismal, a dismal shot, and we can't be that way when we are writing sentences. Flashing lightning and thunder, the little bunny struggled through the storm. The little bunny was not flashing lightning and thunder. It was the storm. We cannot have that modifier sitting out there all by itself. Dangling modifiers. What are we going to do about them? A modifier that starts a sentence must be followed right away by the word it describes. Otherwise, the modifier is said to be dangling and the sentence takes on an unintended meaning. So one more time, how do we fix a dangling modifier? If you say the same thing multiple ways, everyone will be able to understand it. You fix it in the same way that you fix a misplaced modifier. You move it close to the thing it modifies. Change the main part of the sentence so it begins with the term it actually modified. Looking toward the west, a funnel-shaped cloud stirred up dust. The funnel-shaped cloud was not looking towards the west. I was looking towards the west. Looking towards the west, I saw a funnel-shaped cloud stir up dust. Soaring through the sky, Brenda watched the high-powered jet. Brenda was not soaring through the sky. Brenda watched the high-powered jet soaring through the sky. Of course, it's the jet soaring through the sky. Sitting in the dentist chair, the sound of the drill made Larry perspire. The sound was not sitting in the dentist chair. Larry was sitting in the dentist chair. To improve his essay, each page was proofread. Now, live things and machines do actions. If there's an action verb in the sentence, there must also be a living thing or a machine that does the action. So how could we rewrite this sentence? To improve his essay, Davis proofread each page. Excellent. As Alice strolled through the woods, the Cheshire Cat grinned at her. Here's another way to write that correctly. The Cheshire Cat grinned at Alice as she strolled through the woods. Strolling through the wood, the Cheshire Cat grinned. It wasn't the Cheshire Cat strolling through the woods, it was Alice. We are going to do examples until you can do these in your sleep. Staring out over the ocean, the hurricane force winds were daunting. The hurricane was not staring. Matt was staring and saw the daunting hurricane. When in 3rd grade, my mother went back to college. Your mother didn't go to college when she was in 3rd grade. When I was in 3rd grade, my mother went back to college. A lot of dangling and misplaced modifiers are just common sense. But sometimes you don't catch it when you're writing because your mind knows what you meant to say. All right, here are some test review items. On the quiz, it's only 5 questions, and you'll have to pick out the sentence which is most correct. Desmond, sitting on the top shelf of the refrigerator, saw Mom's birthday cake. Desmond wasn't sitting on the top shelf. The birthday cake was. As Derek loudly slurped the bowl of hot soup, his impolite behavior annoyed the other diner patrons. That makes sense. Seated by the window, Barbara munched the popcorn. The popcorn wasn't seated by the window, Barbara was. Just take a minute and read through the items and make sure that they make sense. I totally understand this. Some of you may feel like that and some of you may not. Just remember to place modifiers as close to the thing they modify as possible. If you would like extra help, remember that your curriculum takes you step by step through Dangling modifiers. Go to Unit 1, Section 1, and it will walk you through this process as well. Here are some lesson notes that you were asked to do. You will not turn these in. These will just be used to help you with the unit test should you wish to complete them. If we were in a live class, I'd have you tell me how you feel about dangling and misplaced modifiers. Since this is a recording, please make sure that you understand this material before you move on to the quiz. If you need more practice, there is a section in Unit 1.01 that will help you. Please complete the 1.01 quiz, Misplaced and Dangling Modifiers. The quiz is worth 5 points, and you can find the link for the quiz in the class plan. Please remember that there are unlimited retakes, which means if you take this quiz and you don't get what you want, don't worry, just take it again. You can have 999 retakes, which honestly is unlimited retakes. So don't worry, give it a try, see how much you understand. If you're still struggling a bit, go back through the curriculum until you understand the material. If you've taken the quiz a few times and you have a headache and you're getting frustrated and you don't have the score that you like, then you are welcome to meet with me after class on Monday, and I'll walk you through the quiz step by step. Please just do your best and know that you can take it again and again, and try not to worry. I will see you in live classes on Monday at 11:25. Take care.